You gotta love that intro. That is just strong. That is strong. Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing?
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen that intro.
Yes. Well, we've been hiding it from everybody. So wow. Hey, already look at this. The first comment. I absolutely love it.
Don't screw this up, Brad.
Thank you, tribe.
Obviously, they know you very well.
The love is gone. The love is gone.
Well, speaking about the love is gone, not the love necessarily, but Tina Turner turns 81 years old today.
Woo, there you go. There you go. There you
Tina
88,
Turner.
81 young.
81 young.
Absolutely love it. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Hobby Hotline. Thank you for taking time to spend with us on this Saturday morning. I am the Texas Card Dude, as everyone likes to say. We've got ourselves, of course, the great deafness and the great, amazing Uncle Rich Klein.
Well, he's amazing. I'm only great. I see how we start here.
No,
All
I'll take
right.
great over any day of the week.
Oh,
So Brad, you gotta lead us off with your trademark saying.
My trademark saying good morning to you. Let's see. Oh man, really? I gotta,
Come on.
You do you, boo. You do you. We are here in the hobby, and everybody, you do you, boo. You do you. What's going on, Mr. Brody the Kid, Mr. Cloth, Mr. Harris, and Mr. Ziggy? No, StreamYard is Brad proof. Wow.
Look at our engineer getting all the comments up right away. Look at that. Everybody gets a shout out this morning. We love it.
He's the real star of the show. We don't have a show without him.
Right.
Whatever. It's all about the great Uncle Rich Klein with all the compliments and all the love he's been doing. I will say first off, we need to say a very, very special happy birthday to a very special person, Mr. John Newman. It was his birthday this week, so I wanted to make sure that we all said a nice happy birthday to Mr. John Newman, who looks like he's about to devour that cake all at once.
without blowing the candles out, right? He just at it.
So happy birthday, Mr. Newman. We know that you could be watching, or you couldn't be watching, or you could be up, or you could not be up right now, but we wanted to say at least happy birthday to Mr. Newman. We're not going to sing to you. We're not going to put you through that. Oh, so I know there was a couple of things that we wanted to talk about. Let's see. Let's talk about Turkey Day first. We'll start with you, Mr. Rich Klein. What did you do this fine Turkey Day?
Well, I basically got to see my wife and my mother-in-law try their first attempt in many years at making a Thanksgiving turkey.
There you go.
Because normally we go somewhere, but this year we were COVID friendly and we stayed home. And the meal came out well. It just took a little longer than everybody thought it would, which was fine. And the goal was to have the meal finished by the time the Cowboys game was on, because they both try to root for the Cowboys. And after seeing the Cowboys' final score, maybe it was good that the meal actually didn't get going until the Cowboys game was on.
Was that a game? I don't know. That was kind of.
It actually was a closer game than the final score. And the guy that ran down Jalen Smith and prevented the touchdown, that was a game-saving play. The game could be much different if it's 2020 than 2016.
Agree.
And so I feel sorry for the Cowboys because I think certain things have happened to them this year, and the Cowboys are a very hobby-important team.
They are. As much as people love them, as much as people hate them.
Dak got hurt. Zeke Elliott is 26 and probably a half step slower. So it does affect, that was a few years ago, but it affects the hobby. And if the Cowboys are good, the hobby here is booming. Right now, the only Cowboys you sell are old Cowboys. You don't sell brand new Cowboys. Well, there's no accounting for your taste.
Wow. Okay. Well,
I mean, I'm a Giants fan, even though I have a Cowboys sweatshirt
we never
on.
see you with any Giant stuff on. What's up with
I
that?
don't own any Giant stuff. I've been out of the area for 30 years. You don't get a lot of Giant stuff here in Texas.
Okay, so now that was a request. Uncle Rich Klein wants all Giant stuff for Christmas. What about you, Mr. Divness? How'd you
Yeah.
your Turkey Day?
So first off, I just want to say hello to everybody. I want to hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Hope everybody got to spend it with family and friends and had a nice hot meal. I did that exact thing. I don't know if I much watched the Cowboys play. I think I watched Antonio Gibson play in that game on Thanksgiving as he ran down Dallas's throats. But no, I had a great Thanksgiving. Glad to be here with you guys, and I think we got a great show lined up for you. So,
yes, it was a fun time. We did something different. We went out of town. We stayed at a bed and breakfast in Jefferson. We weren't because of COVID. We didn't host, so we didn't have anybody over. So like, forget it. We'll go to a bed and breakfast. Had a lovely time at a bed and breakfast, and spent some time together as a couple, and really enjoyed it. Got to have a 3-hour long one way back conversation on things that we were thankful for, things we were appreciative of. I said this in the pre-show, so I'll show it a little bit. I finally got my wife to listen to a podcast. She won't listen to mine, but she'll listen to Dr. Beckett's apparently. And the first one that she listened to was the very kind, very sweet podcast that he did about Mr. Rich Klein, and just wanted to say that was well deserved. That was very, very well deserved, Rich.
Thank you.
I appreciate. I know that for me, I really appreciate everything that you've done for me so far, especially at the shows and your warmth and your kindness. I'm not going to get you all teary-eyed, but you know exactly what I'm talking about in that. And it means a lot to me. So thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
All right. So now that all that.
Speaking of Antonio Gibson, I just looked him up on Pro Football Reference. This is his rookie year. He's got 11 touchdowns. And I don't follow the new football card world that closely, but I wonder after that game how much of an explosion there was in his card pricing. And I
don't know, but hey, let's give a little AG love.
There you go.
To me, that's when you have a breakout game on national TV on a Thanksgiving. That is one of the ways still the hobby can really get impacted. People remember that. Randy Moss was always big in 1998. He was always second behind Peyton Manning. He caught 3 passes on Thanksgiving in 1998 against the Cowboys. I believe all for more than 50 yards and all for touchdowns.
Yes.
His cards exploded even more after that game because he got that national TV major boost. And even though there's less national TV, things are a little bit different. Now some of the players are more highlight based. Well, you get Gibson waving bye-bye to the Cowboys on one of his TD runs when he goes, I'm going, don't touch me.
Mm-hmm.
You get that little bit of personality that doesn't really insult anybody, and you put that on a national stage with a big audience. That's a recipe for getting a card boosted up several levels.
Yeah, him doing that, didn't it?
It really was an impact. And I tell you, that great play that the defensive lineman made to score the final touchdown. Not that he's going to get hot. He's only a second-year player. He's not playing, but you might be interested in him too because that was one heck of an athletic play.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't offended that he waved bye-bye to the Cowboys. I was more offended that the Cowboys let him do it. I mean, that's as a Cowboys fan. So any first-round linebackers, those will probably be taken by the Cowboys. So I'm expecting that. Rich, you wanted to talk about the passing of Mr. Diego. We're not a great big huge soccer fans, but can you comment on that? And
well, Diego in to the 1980s, what Pele was to the 60s and 70s, and a player like Lionel Messi was to today. And what's interesting with both Pele and Maradona is compared to somebody like Messi, they have a lot less actual physical cards during their playing career. You have to sort of hunt and peck to see what actual items they have during their career, where Messi has a ton of cards now. So there's a big difference between yesterday and today. And so it's interesting how this is all part of how soccer has exploded. I know there are some more recent Maradona cards, I know, than there were, and I know Pele has modern cards, but in their day there was a lot less cards. And I think that's one of the differences is soccer has truly become a card sport now. It may be, nationally and internationally second, third, probably close to probably fourth, actually, probably somewhere just after. It may be tied with hockey or even ahead of hockey on a world stage. Baseball is still number one here to a large extent. Basketball is obviously number one around the world, and football is huge here. But soccer is a little bit different. And Ziggy, I didn't know that, but I think one of the things is that Diego was 60. And, as I said, it's a different circumstance with him. Kobe still was signings. Kobe was still a really active personality here. And the way is just so traumatic. The helicopter crash in my opinion, made a huge difference.
Yeah, I don't know this what is this soccer that you're talking?
They call it football in the rest of the world.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
Yeah, is it SOCKHER? Is that how it's spelled?
Or is it SOCKER?
I actually played intramural and low level, and I'll call it lower level soccer growing up, and I was actually pretty decent. When I was in college, and let's say the international people would see me walking around walking around if they were playing a game, they would say, "You play." So I actually played a lot of soccer when I was young, and I was pretty good. I don't want to say varsity level or anything, but I was in terms of that level, I was pretty good. And it's a fun game to play. It really was a fun game to play. It was. You really had to be in shape to play it too. You don't you run more in soccer than you do in almost any other sport.
Yeah, I kid around. I mean, I acknowledge that soccer's worldwide. I acknowledge that but it's fun to poke because it's soccer fans are passionate. I mean, back when, who was it that back in the Cotton Bowl played, the soccer team that played at the Cotton Bowl? I did a game once there as just as a vendor for our youth boys something or other. I can't remember what it was, but all I remember were the horns being blown constantly and just the fans being so passionate. And that's the one thing you got. I mean, it's not just for 1 minute. It's not just for 5 minutes. It's the entire match. And yes, I did use match. It is the entire match that they are just loud and just passionate about their team. So I do recognize that it is a great sport. It's just not my bag. I grew up in Texas. Football was number one. Baseball was number two. I wrestled in high school, so wrestling is number three for me. Hockey is a close number four, just because I've lived in Colorado. Just not my bag. That's all. And I'd like riling. No, I don't like riling people up at all.
Nah, you're not like that at all.
So that's topic number one. Let's get into the Joe Burrow topic. How much does Joe Burrow's injury affect the rest of the 2020 football releases?
By the way, speaking of engineering, and I think I see we have a great crowd tonight. Don't forget to put the link for anybody who wants to call in.
Nope, already did that quietly, and I'll put it in just as soon as I throw this other photo up here while we're doing the talking. But how does that affect the new up and coming releases? And Does it take a hit? Do the sets now take a hit or not?
Personally, I don't think it takes a hit because we still have such a wide variety of great rookies in this class that are really making a name for themselves. I mean, Justin Herbert, already probably outplaying Burrow anyway, right? So people are chasing Justin Herbert. You have the likes of Justin Jefferson. I'm going to miss guys, but this class, I feel, even Higgins is going to take a hit now because Burrow probably, and because they got a practice squad quarterback playing for him. But on a Burrow landscape, as far as him personally, I feel he recovers. I feel he comes back. I mean, we talk about the game we just watched here on Thursday on Thanksgiving. We talk about the Washington football team, and we talk about Alex Smith, and we talk about how bad his injury was and what everybody said about him. And now look at how mobile he was. Look at how well he could move around. Burrow is very young. He's extremely young. He's got the drive in him. He definitely wants to come back and play football. It's not like he's a guy that was like, I'll play football just so I can get paid. Oh, I got this injury, now I'm going to stand back. Like, he wants to come back. He wants to make a name for himself in the NFL. And I think as people are dumping their cards, as his price is dropping, it's kind of like stocks, guys. You buy low and you sell high, right? So as it's already dropped, as the injury already took place, the value is already dropping right there. You're not jumping. You're not outdoing somebody right as it hits, unless you do it right at that time, or unless you sold right before he got injured, where his price was climbing. So use it like stocks. I would be buying where you can take advantage of and where it's low. I will say I feel he does come back. And as far as the rest of this year's class in football for products, I think Burrow was like a guy. Yes, he was the top pick, but I think as the seasons progressed, I think he's a guy that's like 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 for some people on the list of rookies. And with Herbert doing what he's doing, the prices just continue to still climb, even with Burrow being injured. So that's my take, man. I don't know, Rich. What do you feel on this?
My thought was a little bit different. My thought was that to me, it points out one of the biggest flaws for the eBay platform of selling cards, where you have the 60-day return basically for any.
Yes.
I think certain cases they need to actually say, dude, take responsibility. You bought the card 2 weeks ago. You can't return it now just because the value's going down. You are taking you are spending your money and taking a legitimate risk. So to me, as a seller, I wouldn't want to be selling on eBay anything new, because your player can get hurt, and all of a sudden somebody can come up with a false reason for a return, and you got to take it.
Yeah. It doesn't even have to get hurt. Can just have a couple poor games, and now the value plummets down, and now people are returning.
And there are certain, and eBay is still the number one platform in so many ways, and I'm sure, and I work at ComC, and we're a huge platform too, but that's a major flaw in my book. And I tell the story about eBay, and there was a gentleman I knew in New Jersey by the name of Rick Baruda. This is 20 years ago, and a good friend of mine was helping get his wife into the country. She was from a foreign country, and he was the immigration lawyer. Rick passed away, and he passed away while basically in the process of getting items ready to ship. He had sold the items, and then he got some negatives for worst eBayer ever. Well, he was in the ground. I'm sure he would have preferred to have sold the items and got, not only got the money, but shipped them out rather than not being here anymore, especially with a wife, ready to join him in this country. eBay couldn't even change the negatives back to neutrals. That poor man who had 100% rating, like a 1200, had 4 negatives at the end of his life through no fault of his own. There are certain things I would like to change on eBay over the years. That's one of them. And another one is this. I think you almost need someone to monitor to say, folks, no. This person, the price went down. He's had bad games. Especially in this case, which is more obvious. He's hurt.
Right.
You bought the card. You own the card. You need to take responsibility. We are not going to be only buyer. There are, collectibles are different than certain other fields. You buy a pair of shoes, unless the shoe falls apart upon contact, you know your shoe size. Hopefully, you can buy a pair of shoes. If they send you the wrong size, you send it back. This has to do with up and down market volatility, and if you're buying a card like that, you have to accept it.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking on Facebook. Some of the Facebook groups that I'm on, I do a lot. I've changed my buying now to Facebook group, which is really, really weird, but I would have never thought that. But one of the things that I did is I was looking for Joe Burrow cards to dive, and I found like a Panini Prism Silver for $250, and I'm like, no, really, what's the real price? I mean, just the fact that some of the prices are still astronomically, ridiculously high. I haven't really seen a lot of huge dips in the marketplace yet, but I'm sure at some point I'll be able to pick up as much as I can, as often as I can, because I'm going to be buying any Burrow cards on the cheap that I can find, because I still think he's talent there. I'm hoping. That's true. At least I hit the live YouTube button. I think there's two trains of thought, but the first one has to be the Bengals have to get him offensive line help. They have to get him offensive line help. If they don't, then it's just he's going to have to go somewhere else. He's a great talent. He has great instincts. We've seen him win despite being on the Bengals team. He's going to be a great quarterback if you can get him in a better position than when he's in right now. But I guess the better question is, are the Bengals smart enough to go get him an offensive line that's worth the darn so that he's not getting killed every single week? I mean, is it going to be the another scenario where one great quarterback gets his career, another Alex Smith, where it takes him like 4 or 5 or 6 teams before we realize how great he is, because every team that he goes to, he gets destroyed physically. I mean, what do y'all think?
But I think you already saw what he can do, even with not a great offensive line. You know what I mean? And not a great cast around him. I mean, he was putting up pretty decent numbers. And I think, again, going back to the part of like you not seeing the Joe Burrow prices dropping a lot, you still see a lot of, I guess, hype or still excitement, even though that he's injured now from some people. I think part of that really helps with going back to Alex Smith as well. Seeing somebody that can go such an extreme, terrible, nasty leg injury and now go on and perform, and come back. And he was later in his career when this happened, right? And we see this more often than not. Players get injured all the time. Dalvin Cook had to have, surgery, and now he's back and he's tearing it up. And that's a running back. A quarterback is, if it's not his arm or his elbows, and as long as he's able to step into his throw, or he can still move and get around and get out of the pocket if he has to, I think he comes back fine. And I think, again, it's that being so young, he's going to be hungry. He wants to make a name for himself. I guarantee you he wants to make a name for himself in the NFL, and he's not going to let this drag him back. He's going to do whatever he can. They're going to probably tell him he's going to be out a year or however many months. He's probably going to come back 2 months earlier than that. I mean, we've seen it, right? I mean, guys have done it. Guys that were late in their career have come back and still done it and came back and performed. But I agree on Rich. eBay, like, honestly, guys, I don't sell much on eBay. I do my own things on my channel. I do other stuff. I do not sell a lot on eBay, and I don't sell on eBay for those reasons, because there's way too much gray area when it comes to selling, return policies, how people can send stuff back. If somebody dips and they just decide they want to do it, you have cards you put up in auctions, and I see these messages from people that post on Twitter and whatever, a guy saying, "Oh, my wife is really upset with me that I bid up on this card, and she's going to divorce me if I can't cancel this. Can you please cancel this transaction?" And not that you have to, But again, you're putting yourself in a situation where, as somebody in the hobby, you want your reputation to be good, right? And so any little negative fallback, anything that can hit your name, you try to stay away from, unless you're that guy that just wants to be known as the scammer, or one of those guys, right? We talked about that Texas car dude before the show being one of those guys, right? We don't want to be one of those guys. So I don't know. I mean, that's where I'm at. That's my take. I think again, like I said earlier, the whole rookie thing, like it's such a good rookie class. I mean, you got guys that are kind of in a hunt together for rookie of the year. There's a lot of excitement around it. I see there no problem. Again, I would be hanging on to Burrows. I would be buying them up if the prices do dip, and I would be excited to see what he comes back and what he does.
I will also point out, among the quarterbacks that lost a season of their career were both Dan Marino and Tom Brady. And so Marino never got back to the Super Bowl, but he did get the Dolphins into the playoffs several times after he lost his season. And Tom Brady won several Super Bowls after he got knocked out. I think it was 2008. He's won a few Super Bowls since then too. So no, it's getting hurt for the season is not always a career-ending event, especially today with the improvement in surgery. Now, 30, 40 years ago, the type of injury he suffered, that could have been a career-ending or really a career-altering injury for many years. This, I think, is, as we say, I don't want to say a bump in the road. It's a significant hurdle. Dak Prescott also has a significant hurdle this year. His injury is similar to Alex Smith. Both of them should be okay. I mean, Alex Smith, almost lost his life. He had tons of infections. It was a very dangerous situation for him. So there are differences within, and it sounds like Burrow. The other thing with Burrows, he was the national championship quarterback last year at a very football-oriented place. It wasn't like he took UConn to the national championship where there's not really a college football history. Where he was, there's a college football history. And they won a national championship, and he was the star of the team. So he's always going to have that background. Just like Johnny, there was somebody at the Texas Card Show a couple of weeks ago, and this came up on Twitter, that basically sold out of all their Johnny Manziel cards. And people were asking, how could you sell out of Johnny Manziel cards? Well, you're local. He's a personality. He won a Heisman Trophy. He still hits a lot of boxes. Burrow still hits a lot of boxes. And yes, the permanent value was dependent on him coming back, but there's always going to be a value based on what Burrow did, even in college last year.
Well, guys, we've hit a whole bunch of topics here. We've had soccer, some sport called soccer. We've hit Joe Burrow. We've done Happy Birthday, Mr. Newman, and we've had Thanksgiving talk. But for some reason, people aren't calling in, and I'm really kind of disappointed in my tribe that nobody's called in to harass me, because I've given them ample opportunity to harass me, but nobody's called in, a.k.a. Herman, who always complains that he never gets on whenever, and now he has his chance, but yet he doesn't want to come on. Wow.
Right? Wow.
This is your opportunity to jump on and harass Texas Card Dude live. There it is. There it is. Here we go. We've got our first victim.
Nice.
What is up, Jeff? You're on mute, big guy.
Good morning. Get yourself off mute.
First victim.
Yes.
There he is.
There we go. Someone has to be the first, right?
There you go.
First victim.
There he is.
Okay. Turn your YouTube off and just
unmute.
We're going to add the great Mark Hoyle on here, too.
Hey, Mark.
Mark, good morning.
Hey, Rich, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Good. I don't know how good the connection is, but
All right.
I think we lost some people. We got a couple guys. We're connected fine, but I don't know about. All right.
Up too late is still muted.
Hang
All
on.
right now. How about now, Jeff?
Yep.
There he is.
There he is.
Now.
What is going on, big dog?
I'm awake before 8 o'clock on a Saturday.
I know. This is a miracle. Call Ripley.
Yeah, part of that is I got a huge box of soccer cards that I'm sorting through this morning. You know, the real
What is
football.
that again? I don't know what that is. I don't know what they
How
are.
do you spell that?
It's the real football.
So what did you think about the passing?
You know, I think it's sad, right? Someone like that to go out the way he did, it was just kind of sudden. That definitely hit the soccer community. It's a growing sport here in the U.S., right? I mean, a couple years ago, you didn't think anything of it, and now it's within the hobby, it's blowing up. It's one of the top youth sports. It's near and dear to me because my daughter's been playing ever since she was born. It was just sad day for the soccer community.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think the react? I mean, how do you as a soccer fan? There's usually a moratorium on people selling within the 5 to 7 days. How do you feel on that?
I think someone touched on it earlier. It's someone like that. There's not a whole lot out there. Someone of that era. It's you maybe had a handful of cards, and they weren't like top releases. It wasn't a tops card. It was like on soccer on a box of cereal or something, right? Or you get a drink pack, and then you get a little cellophane wrapper in there. So there's not a lot of them out there. So it's hard as a collector, to try to find that stuff because people that have it either don't know they have it or they realize the value in it and they're hanging on to it. So there's not a huge population.
Yeah. So would you say that because it's a little bit of scarcity and now with more and more people coming in, is it going to be one of those legends that as he passed, his legend's going to grow, or is it going to become one of those where it just is stagnant and then falls off? What is your opinion?
I think it's hard to say, right? Because if you're someone who's followed soccer, your whole life, you know the name, right? It's a household name, But for people who were just now getting into the sports, the younger generation, they only know of like the David Beckhams or the Sains or the Sanchos or the Mbappes, right? They only know about the top players right now. And so I think it's a crapshoot, right? I think you'll see a lot of people, especially in the hobby, that are going to go hunting, and that may drive up the awareness and the pricing. But I think it's a wait and see.
Well, one thing that's pointed out when we had a discussion about vintage baseball guys last week is there's film on both people like Pele and Maradona. There's plenty of film. You can see their highlights. That is going to be a big difference. There's still visual evidence. Now, even George Best of the 60s, it's not as much visual as there is Pele, who came to America in the 70s. And by the 80s, there's even more video. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to help a little compared to, the 50s and 60s players, who really are part of faded memory right now. Yeah. There's always going to be somebody because of the lure of the hand of God goal.
Right.
That may be the most famous goal in World Cup history.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, and I just remembered it was the Sidekicks that Pele played for here in Dallas. Pele played.
He never played in Dallas, son.
I thought he played for the Sidekicks.
He played for the New York Cosmos.
All right. Well, so that tells you how much. At least I can remember the Pele and the Sidekicks. Give me at least an A for effort.
I'll give you.
Hey, you know what? We'll get you up to speed.
I used to go to Cosmos games, so I can talk to you about that, son.
We're gonna bring somebody else on here. It's the great Mark Hoyle. How are you, sir?
Hey guys,
Good morning, Mark.
Wow, we got Jeff and Mark on here. I'm honored. I'm
Mark, turn your
Can you hear
phone
me?
landscape if you can. Can you turn your phone? Or are you on a phone? Turn it the other way. Landscape. We have a connection issue.
That's all right.
Maybe not.
It's all right. Let's see here. What else?
Mark, that's okay. Tell us. So what's on your mind this morning, Mr. Hoyle?
I can barely. My connection isn't the greatest, but Hey,
We hear you.
We hear you. Go ahead.
I was calling in. You guys were talking about eBay, and I know Herman and I mentioned this earlier in the week. What do you guys think about the managed payments?
I'd love to be Advantage Payments. I'm not there yet. They haven't jumped me on, but I actually got onto eBay and tried to get on Managed Payments. I'm all for it. I can't wait to get on it because as I understand it, some of the fees will be lowered or the costs will be lowered, and it gives me a chance to amortize some stuff on the back end. But I've heard good and bad, so I'm gonna stick with the good and be positive and show some positiveness. So that's my thoughts. Anybody else have any?
As I said, I don't sell on eBay, but I'd like to see how that plays out. You know, years ago, I was worried about PayPal. PayPal seemed to do just fine. I'm sure there'll be some adjustments, but I'm sure this will work out fine for all concerned. So I'm sure eBay, you know, with the amount of money eBay has in their corporate coffers, I'm sure that they can make any adjustments that come up. So I wouldn't be as panicky about that as some people are.
Yeah, they just converted my account last week. Apparently, I sold $200 worth of stuff on eBay, and now I'm considered a business. So they forced me to convert.
Wow. $200.
Right? If that's all it took, then geez.
Yeah, I heard about holding payments. I haven't been. I've sold a lot. I haven't really been forced to jump on it yet. So
That's crazy.
I'm not. I've heard that story, Ziggy, about them holding payments, but I haven't heard anybody actually getting done. So I don't know.
As long as they don't adopt the Mercari philosophy, I think it'll be a good thing. If I can get my payment instantly, I'm more than happy if there's a problem to refund money within reason. But if they're going to adopt that model where someone buys something, they hold payment until they receive it, then
That's
they have
crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
But in that case, then you also have to make sure that there's some way to do tracking on every single thing you send.
Yeah.
And I did hear that there is a new way where you don't have, where I think it's 75 cents to do tracking on the PWE. So I think they are working on that too, because if you have a dollar card, it's probably not worth $4 to ship a dollar card when you can put it in a PWE. And if it's 75 cents, that's a lot easier to deal with.
So, Jeff, I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to bring on Dan, let Mark sit on here just for a little bit. I really appreciate you jumping on, and thanks for waking up early. I appreciate it.
Hey, anytime. Thanks, guys.
All right, we got Cardman Dan. Good morning, sir.
Let me show you guys the truth.
There you go.
Until Tua comes back. You know the same thing that Alabama's helmet logo and Oregon's logo has in common?
Now what?
They both show how many national championships they won.
Oh, nice.
But my one question was for Topps 206, the one that came out, is there any way on the box you could tell which wave it's from?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, Mark wouldn't know.
I would.
Yeah.
Not a 206 guy myself. But.
Yeah, the new one. I can't find it out for the life of me, and everyone keeps asking.
I honestly, when I have those problems, I used ComC, but I mean.
But that's a box. We wouldn't be.
Yeah,
exactly.
I would just go on Twitter or on any Facebook group or anything and just start seeing if there's any way of telling that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would do whatever research you would that is possible to do and
figure it out
and just figure it out, because things like that, they don't affect. I know Mark does a lot of vintage. He does new stuff too. And it doesn't affect my life. It doesn't affect Brad's life. I don't think it affects. So for us, that's not necessarily the right question.
There you go, Ziggy. Leave it to Ziggy to come up with a great answer like that.
Right, yeah, because I'm just trying to get Luis Robert without paying an arm and a leg for the single, so I'm just trying to chase that one.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
This
Okay,
is
well, if you're trying to chase a single, I would just wait till you see a single show up.
or search for it on
For Luis Robert.
I would still wait. Even, opening the box is never a guarantee unless you know he's in the box.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I would just wait. And then even if you have to overpay a little for Luis Robert, just buy the darn card and buy it as a single. And even if you overpay a little, you're guaranteed. Otherwise, but if you want to open a box to have fun, who am I to stop you from doing that?
Right,
yeah,
it's a
you fun
mixturable.
ruiner.
It's a kind of mixturable, I guess.
Yeah, so that's up to you. So based on what Ziggy says, and Ziggy really is following that market, we'd say no. I would say based on that knowledge, just buy a card and just say, and if you want to buy a box, just open it and see which wave it is and have fun with it, go for it. I mean,
Right.
we talked about this before the show. There's some box coming out that we're going to talk about that's $15,000. That's several months of paychecks for me. Maybe for somebody like Brad, who's in the IT field, that's a week of paychecks. But
Whatever.
but as long as you have the money, it's not our job to stop you from doing whatever you want to do.
Right. Okay. Well,
So
thanks for that.
Jeff Hernandez just said, I threw it up on the screen. Hit him up on Twitter. If you don't have it, holler at me. I'll get it's up at too late. Up at Jeff too late. I'll get you later.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks for that. I just figured I'd come on and introduce myself too.
No, we appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for calling.
All right. I'll see you guys, Brad.
Appreciate it.
We want more callers.
Yeah, please, anybody. With that, and I'll throw the hyperlink here again, up again. Feel free to call and give us a hard time, or call and just shoot and have a whole bunch of fun.
All right. I'll see you guys.
All right, thank you.
Take care.
Thanks for calling.
So with that, let's just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off and let's talk about it. Panini Eminence NBA, $15,000 per box. Holy freaking!
Brad, is that suggested retail?
That is suggested retail.
Okay.
That is suggested retail.
Okay.
So.
And so I wonder what the actual price is that all the main distributors and whatnot are getting. I mean, anyone that would get direct, I'm curious to what the price is, because on like Panini Prism Football, which is going for around $1,000 a box, Hobby and this and that, they get them. I think it's around $100 to $150 if I'm not mistaken. So you guys got to take that in consideration. And unfortunately, whatever sells for, it sells for, right? We've talked about that. But when you're getting into breaks and stuff, and they're pricing it at $1,000 a box, unless it's a smaller break or whatever, they're typically getting them for like $100, $150. So as we continue to pay the prices, we continue to drive the price in the markets. We continue to shoot that up there. So at that $15K price tag, I'm just curious on. I wonder what the actual price is that they're getting it direct before it gets shot up to $15K.
Yeah, this is on blowoutcards.com. It says these boxes carry a suggested retail price of $15K. I looked on 3 different sources before we jumped on. I couldn't find it as of right now, but it's still a couple of weeks before it's actually released. So suggested, and we figure everything's going maybe twice to 3 times. Could you imagine something being 30, 45? That's insane.
I think Ziggy hit it right on the head. He said, I'd rather have 4 boxes of NT basketball over 1 Eminence. The NT RPA Logo Man is still out there. Yeah, I mean, and not even just the main Zion Logo Man RPA, but there's quite a few Logo Mans that would be a nice hit. So, yeah.
Well,
Go
I want to interject something here. Panini is local to us here, and I worked with a whole bunch of the Panini people back in my Beckett days. And they are very, because of where many Panini people have come from, even those that aren't necessarily from Beckett, but they have a lot of hobbyists, they actually do try to they understand the SRPs of their boxes, and they want what they put in the box to be somewhat representative of the SRP. they're not always happy when the boxes explode upon contact either. It may be okay on a short-term basis, but if Prism's supposed to be a $100 box and it goes to $300, then the odds of you getting a $300 value out of the box isn't good and doesn't reflect well upon them. Mm-hmm. So Panini understands perhaps better than any other card company, just because of many of their employee backgrounds, what the value should be you get out of a box. By the way, those cards looked absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
I'd never seen them before, but those cards look wonderful. I mean, that's just a pretty card.
It's a showcase card for sure.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Rich.
So those are just nice. Those are nice looking cards. You can tell they put a lot of effort into designing those cards, into making those cards look, and those look like on-card autographs. Those don't look like sticker autographs either. I can't tell, but those look.
No, it would all be on card at 15K. Yeah,
at 15K, they're all on card. So I mean, there's a lot of real positive things. As I said, that's several paychecks. That's several months of paychecks for me.
Yeah, right.
I'm not getting one of those.
Several months. That's like half a year.
That's one paycheck for Brad.
Whatever, dude. That's we were just talking about. Herman and I were just talking about saving up for a case, splitting a case of Heritage 2021, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out how I'm going to do that before February. So,
hey, my buddy, my good buddy, my good friend Balls just put in there. I think he's looked into a little bit more. So it looks like maybe the cards are all numbered to 10 or less. Probably production is so rare, so the value obviously in the market's going to be, you hit a Zion or a Ja or any card really that's a decent rookie or a big name, a Luka or somebody, a Giannis, or any of those are going to be the 10 or less. There's not a high production of them, so
at 15,000 the box, how high of a production are you really going to have?
No, right.
I want to see what the secondary market does for the box. I mean, how far up can you go with that? I mean, that's just even starting.
And somebody was saying, why is Panini still doing 2019, 20? Well, the 2021 season has not begun yet. You still can they're still technically going to be rookie cards. You get a Zion, they're still technically rookie cards. We don't have next season yet. And this is a different tact, but we're not going to have an NBA photo shoot this year. Yep. We're not going to have, Panini's not going to run up to where they do the rookie signings. They're not going to have the rookie signings. It's going to be very interesting to see whom they're able to get to do autographs.
Yeah. So that's, and I was listening to, who was it? It was Mike. It was Mike's interview with the Panini VP that was talking about. If you want to hear a great interview, if you guys want to hear just a fantastic listen, I probably have listened to it 3 times. And the only reason why is because I'm engineering is why I can't remember a lot of it. But I highly recommend going back and listening to this interview on Mike's podcast, just because, wow, it was extremely insightful. It was very, very. Sorry, guys, I got to bring him on. There he is.
What's going on?
What's up, Herman?
How much? I've been paging up my 72 setter. I called in earlier.
But yeah, to finish the thought, it's an extremely nice interview, very insightful. Go back and listen to it. You won't be. It's a good. It's a little longer for Mike. It's about 30 minutes, but it's a freaking great interview. You'll love it. It's well worth it. So. What's going on, Herman? How was your Thanksgiving?
I ate way too much.
Well, that's good. That's good. What else did you do?
Do what?
What else did you do?
We just got together with family. Hung out.
Okay.
We hadn't really been able to do that much since all this rest is going on. So, I mean, we took a shot at the dart and went at it. We kept our distance as much as we could, but I mean,
Yeah. So, what do you think about this Burrow going on? I know that you do a lot of baseball, but what do you think of Mr. Burrow's injury? You break cards, you do football. So, what is your deal? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm kind of in line with Declan. I mean, he's coming back. He's too young not to. He has a desire to play. He's going to play. It may take him a year or less, or it may take more, but he's coming back. So I mean, I'd be in the wheelhouse of buying Wise low. And with Herbert out there, I don't like as far as product goes, I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Because he wouldn't. If he was the only rookie in the class, I'd say yeah. But I mean, there's plenty of them out there.
Yeah. What else is going on? What are you doing this week? Are you doing any breaks this week, or are you just slacking off and doing nothing and enjoying time with the family?
I've got way too much sitting on tables.
Sitting on tables. That's it.
I know that feeling. I'm still going through what I purchased at the show 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, before I decided to, formally set up and actually sit behind my table. I'm still got about 2/3 of a shoebox left to price.
I've done got in a habit of when stuff come in, just set it over on the table, and I'll get it later, and then it got to piling up, so I got to do something. So that's what I'm doing.
Cards have a way of multiplying now, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
All right. So, what else are we going to talk about? I ran through all my topics.
Well, I think it's something we touch on a lot of topics, but one thing I always like to talk about are topics that affect everybody. When we talk about T206, TOPS 206, that affects a very limited portion. And I think we have to remember, and one thing I'll pontificate about is we always have to remember somebody liked loquacious, so I figure pontificate will be the word for loquacious this week. Jeremy will understand. There's a whole group of collectors out there that just like meat and potato stuff. And we were talking about the struggles I had doing the first Beckett Almanac when I did one of Dr. Beckett's podcasts. But there's a couple things in doing those doing those books or the magazines that came up. There was a time I deleted 1989 from the Beckett magazine of baseball. I deleted that from the database. We were able to get it back. And there was also the time where we lost half the 1993 top set. And you would think that the basic, 89 by 1999 was pretty much of a, quiet, dead issue. People would complain, where's 89 tops, even though there were only 8 cards listed. People wanted their money back on a $40 book because we missed 200 cards and 93 tops. We always have to remember that there's a huge group of collectors that may not be as tuned in as we are. And they're perfectly fine. And we want to be cognizant that not everybody lives and dies on a daily basis with baseball cards. For a lot of us, it's just a way to go back to our past and enjoy what we've done. I heard you working on a 72 set.
Yep.
Was that the first one you worked on, or is this just something, or is that the year you were born?
Yeah, it's my birth year.
Okay, so for you, that has a special meaning. You're learning firsthand what we all learned about what the fun is of really building a tough set.
Yeah, it's getting down to the high numbers. It's really gotten tough.
I sold out of every high number I had at the show. I mean, you bought a bunch and somebody else bought a bunch. I think I had 35 high numbers when the show began, and I think I have I may have a couple left, and that's it.
Yeah, I got 30 of them. So.
You got 30 of them, yes. But that's a meat and potato collector, and we need to appreciate. Talk about what we're thankful for. We're also thankful for the meat and potato collectors. We're thankful for the people that not just want your Joe Burrow, but want to get their Carson Palmer collection or their Andy Dalton collection or the Icky Woods collection of 88 and 89. There aren't that many cards. Or Pete Johnson or Bob Johnson, the first player they ever drafted who was the starting center for 12 years. Paul Robinson, who led the first year Cincinnati Bengals as in the AFL in rushing with, I believe, 1,023 yards in 1968. We need to be thankful for all of that too.
Yeah, so I'll throw this out there. I mean, we were talking before the show. There was a book that you did, 1996, Beckett Baseball Almanac. I'm challenging my tribe, and I'm challenging all 30 people, 31 people, 32 people that are watching this.
People who listen later.
And people who listen later. I'm throwing down the gauntlet in a challenge to pull or to show that book. I want it. I want that book. So 1996, Beckett Baseball Almanac. I want it. So reach out to me. We tried to find it before doing just like a 5-second, 10-second search.
We boost the analytic, like the Google Analytics searches on that thing this morning before the show like crazy. All of us were on there.
The first time I ever found the book in today's Google search was in an article I did for Sports Collectors Daily many years ago. So that tells you that we only made 2,873 copies of that book. That's not going to be, and several of those books are no longer. I'm sure several have been recycled, or a whole group have been recycled. That is not the easiest book to find.
Well, that's my white whale right now. That's my whale. That's my. If Dr. Beck were to ask me what's my holy grail, that's my holy grail right now. is that book? So I'm challenging the tribe. I'm challenging everybody out there to go search for it.
Mark, come back on. I want to talk to you about the 67 set.
Yeah, Mark, jump back on.
Yeah, you was talking about the 72 set and the birth year set. That was the one thing that when I started collecting or had gotten into it a little more, I see where people had saved, their parents had saved this set or they bought this set. That was a set that I wish that I'd always, if my daddy had been into collecting, had he done something like that for me. And it was the one thing that when my kids started being born, it was the one thing I always did for them was bought their birth year set in, the 4 major sets that was out at the time. You can't do it now, but and I've got them put up. So, but granted, it's not a 72 set or a vintage set because my kids were born in the 90s. So, but and my grandson being born was what actually got me back into it. Because when he was born, I was like, well, I want to build a set for him, and it just kind of kept going. So,
yeah, that 1972 set, I'm almost to the point where I'm gonna build that set. I'm almost afraid to because of what Herman's going through, but again, it's my birth year as well. Mark, thanks for rejoining us. Talk to us a little bit about the 72 set.
Mark, the 67 set is, and you're a Boston guy, so the 67 set has to have really special meaning for you.
He's froze again.
Okay. Well, I was going to say Mark's a Red Sox guy, and so for Mark, the 67 set is a really special set because that's the year of the Impossible Dream Red Sox, and there are several tough cards in that set. The high numbers. There are triple prints. There are about 22 cards that are more. I think there's 11 triple prints, 11 double prints, and then a whole bunch of tough cards in the 67 high number series and some tougher ones in the 67 6 series. And that's what makes that set so challenging to collect. Again, that's just not just meat and potatoes. That's meat and potatoes. And good luck on some of those cards, finding them at a price and condition you want.
Yeah. The 72 set, I can't imagine well, let's start this. I asked Mark this, and until he can jump back on, what would be like for, I don't know, I was born in 72. I don't do vintage. What would be your opinion on a set to start with to pull?
Well, if you want something easier than 72, if you were collecting as a kid, you could do early 80s set. I mean, I know some of them are findable, but you could even do an 80 set almost, and just start doing that because the value of the commons are okay, where you might actually see some of them at shows or buy a lot of this at a show, through some way, and then just fill in the rest of the show. So I think for you in like a 1980 set, 81, 82, I think that would be just as much fun. 72 is, Herman can tell you, good luck with the high numbers.
Yeah, so like an 83 with all those rookies, or maybe even the 84 or something like
Yeah.
that.
I think I'm down to 85.
85, 72.
85 of them left. And so
I like that idea of the 72 in action set. That actually is an interesting concept where you're getting some common players, you're getting a lot of star players. There are a few high numbers. Stars, there's a Rod Carew in action that's a high number of a superstar. And there's a Pete Rose in action, I believe, in the semi-high series, but it's not the worst.
72, I actually just traded for that card. He has in action.
Yeah, guys, I'm trying to pull in Mark Hoyle. I'll ask before we're running a little bit over. We'll continue to go a little bit over until we, or at least the
Until
conversation.
Until we get Mark on for the last time.
But hit the like button down. Give us some love. Tell us that you like the show. Tell us if you didn't like the show. Give us some comments, gripes, complaints, nags, pet peeves. But give us some hobby love. We throw the hobby love out. We like to get some hobby love back. Let's see what else. I'm trying to get Mark on. I really want Mark to talk about the 72 stat.
That's okay. We'll get Mark on a future date. He's got a conflict coming up. So.
All right. Well then, on that, we appreciate everybody taking time, and we appreciate everybody spending some of their Thanksgiving weekend with us. Uncle Rich, final thoughts.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure being on. It's a great time to be in the hobby, and it's just the hobby is a lot of fun, and it's been for many of us. And this will be the topic of what I call my final Klein's Corner of 2020. We're a community. Even our hobby hotline is a community, and community this year in the hobby has been more important than ever. We've had limited shows. In Dallas, we're lucky we've had shows. Some parts of the country do not have shows. Herman has 3 hours to drive if he wants to go to any show. And so we're thankful. We're talking about what we're being thankful for. We're thankful we're a hobby community.
Yep.
Absolutely.
What about you, Mr. Deftness?
Yeah, I mean, I think what am I thankful for?
Yeah, what are you thankful for?
Thankful to be able to have such a great community. I mean, whether it's here on the hobby hotline, whether it's within my own community and people that follow me, that listen to me, that listen to my advice, that hang out in auctions or whatever it may be. It's a fun place. I always tell everybody, it's like I get more adult interaction these days with people within the hobby, maybe not face to face, which with COVID especially, it's even more important. More interaction online or whatever, whether it's shows like this or whether I'm doing it on my channel, wherever it may be. I'm just thankful to have such an amazing hobby community. A lot of great people out there, guys. You would never know until it happens that you can meet some of the coolest and even gain some of the bestest of friends through this hobby, not even in the same state. So one of my guys, Matt Balls, that commented a couple times today on the show, he's a very close friend of mine now. And, we didn't even meet. We talked on Twitter and other places for a long time. We finally met at the National last year and hung out for 3 days straight. Very close friend of mine. I mean, you're going to find people like that and people that come together and just help people. There's so many unselfish, where there are selfish people, there's many more unselfish people and caring people in the hobby. So don't let a few negative people, don't let a few trolls, don't let any of those people affect what you're doing. Don't let any of those people affect how you appreciate your hobby and how much you entertain it. And I guess the last piece I want to just share with you guys that I share with all my people is make sure you should look at the hobby. It's a hobby, right? So you should look at it as a hobby / entertainment, right? When if you go into card breaks or you go buying singles or you go buying, your singles of your Luca graded or your Luca auto card non-graded or whatever it might be, make sure that whatever money you're putting into that, it's not money that's taken away from what you need in your life as far as like paying your bills, putting food on your table. Because I see it time and time again. I see people get into the hobby and they see all these big cards, they see these big hits, and people think that they're just going to get into a break. They're going to score the Chargers in a prison break. They're going to hit a Justin Herbert auto rookie, and they're going to pay off or pay their bills that they're behind on, or do whatever. Play it as entertainment, right? If you're getting into breaks and stuff, do not use money you can't be using. It will not be fun. You will not enjoy the hobby if you do so. And make sure if you're someone who resells, price your cards to sell so that they sell. So you're not wasting a ton of time reposting cards, re-putting things on places. Price them to sell. Take it $5 or $10 cheaper if it's a $100 card and it's comping at $100. Sell it for $90. Sell it for $85. Just move the card. Recoup that money back into your hobby spending money. And
Great.
with that, guys, I hope everybody has an awesome day. You guys can catch me at Deptons45. I do have a YouTube channel. I'm on Twitter at I am Deptons45, and I appreciate being on the show, guys. It's been great. So,
Bravo. Well said, Herman. You and I become very close friends as a result of this. I'm gonna give you a couple minutes, and then I'll go on my blubbering and try not to cry.
Well, I mean, that's I don't really have anything as far as being thankful. I'm thankful to have a hobby that I can fall back on and relax, doing, and just try to stay away from, like we said earlier, stay away from negativity and just overlook it. I mean, don't interact with it. It's too easy to keep moving on. If it gets stressful, it's time to get out.
mm-hmm.
And that's all that's doing is just adding stress to people, which in the hobby it should be relaxing. It's stressful enough trying to hunt down certain cards. You don't need to be dealing with other people that enjoy it. But that's about it. And if you have any high numbers, hit me up on Twitter.
There you go. A little plug on there.
There we go. Well, I can't stress enough. I mean, the last month has been really hard on my family and I, and the hobby has done nothing but wrapped its arms around me and shown me this incredible love that I would have never ever expected or thought of. And I continue to thank, and I continue to appreciate and reach out to, and just it makes my heart every single day feel good that I chose to get back into the hobby. So thank you once again. Thank you, everybody. I'm thankful for a hobby that allows me to be me. And I will say it once, I've said it 1,000 times. You do you, boo. It doesn't matter if you flip, if you sell, if you buy, if you collect, if you hoard. I don't care, as long as Mr. Newman says, it's above board. As long as you're not doing anything illegally, you do you, boo. You do the hobby the way you do, and don't let anyone else try to darken your light. Don't let anyone else try to put you down. Who you are, you do you. You be you, because that's the only way you're going to enjoy the hobby. And if you're stressed, reach out to somebody. If you're having a hard time, reach out to me. Call me. Please. I mean, if you're having a hard time, I am wide open for anybody who's having a hard time. Pay it forward. Share your knowledge. I mean, oh my gosh, just the friendship for Rich Klein. I mean, I would have never thought the friendship that I'd had with him and him being a hobby mentor. I mean, it's warmed my heart, and I'll say thank you very much, and I'll give you a blubbery moment there, Rich. It's been incredible. It's been an incredible 4 months. It's been an incredible journey, and I look forward to many, many, many more years, many, many more hobby hotlines, many more confessions of a Texas guard dude. And trust me, 2021, I'm going to give back tremendously to the hobby, and everybody's going to absolutely enjoy it.
Speaking about giving back, I am sure hopeful that with the vaccine on the way, you see these boxes behind me. They're all donations from my synagogue show. We also have a storage unit full of items. I have maybe 2 million cards that need to be redistributed to the hobby. I can't wait to have the next show so we can start giving these cards back, so they're not sitting in my office anymore.
Yes, I there's going to be all sorts of just stuff. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Just happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you for spending your Saturdays with us every single Saturday. We continue to as long as you continue to watch, we will continue to put this content out, and we will continue to appreciate and share the hobby love. So thank you very much, everybody, and God bless and have a great weekend.